the X factors on the 49ers. And how about this? Let's start with offense for you. Who do you think is that offensive X factor for the team?
I mean, it's got to be the man that we've already been talking about, George Kittle. When he's not on the field, you just feel it. Something's missing. The impact that he has on the game as a pass catcher in the run game is phenomenal. He's an exciting player. The energy he brings to the rest of the team can't be replicated. It can't be duplicated. So the biggest X factor on offense, George Kittle.
I think George Kittle is the biggest X factor on offense. And you mentioned all the stuff he does great as a weapon, right? He can do all these things. He can even take jet sweeps. He can become an eligible runner. But the thing to me that sets Kittle over the edge is the X factor versus someone like Deebo Samuel, right, is that blocking ability. When you see the difference between the 49ers running game with and without George Kittle, it's immense. George Kittle graded out as one of the best pass blockers or blockers in general at the tight end position ever. He just is one of the best to ever do it at the position. So to me, if we're talking about X factors for the offense, we see what they're like when they're missing Kittle. Now, I think Deebo is a really good consideration for second place, but like I said, I think there are other people who aren't exactly Deebo Samuel, right, but who can do Deebo Samuel-like things and replicate some of the stuff. Now, I'm not saying you have a one guy that could replicate everything that Deebo Samuel does, but I think it's much easier to try and patch together what Deebo Samuel does rather than what George Kittle does, right? To me, that would be the difference between the two in terms of being an X factor, at least.
Yeah, I see where you're going there. I mean, yeah, we definitely want Deebo. Deebo is an X factor. And I like where Kim's head's at because Alex Mack, he's a guy who's a bit long in the tooth. So, but if he can harness back to his days with Kyle Shanahan previously and just bring the stability to the center position, because really it's been a position that we've had a lot of injuries at, right? When we're talking Richburg and just the revolving door that was there last year, Brunskill did the best he could. I feel like he wasn't that prepared to be a center, but he did a commendable job. So Alex Mack, we're talking about, a Pro Bowler, right? So if he can lock down the center position where we know Kyle Shanahan asked the centers to do a lot to reach the second level on some of these stretch runs. So Alex Mack, huge X factor.
Yeah, and Korean 49ers right here in that you don't want that inconsistency from your offensive line. To me, the most important thing for the 49ers going forward in terms of their O-line is that they have every starter available, hopefully. I think Alex Mack, it is a worry in terms of his age right now, but considering all the options the 49ers had available, I think it was probably one of the better options they could have gone with. He makes a lot of sense in terms of anchoring that offensive line. And like everyone's talked about before, his experience with Kyle Shanahan is going to go very far for this team. And listen, even if Alex Mack doesn't really impact this team on the field, I think his impact as a leader in the locker room will show more than almost anything else. I really do believe